Stoicism, an ancient Greek philosophy founded by Zeno of Citium, teaches resilience, self-discipline, and the pursuit of inner tranquility. It has been practiced for centuries by those who seek to live virtuous lives, unaffected by external circumstances. Yet the Stoic lifestyle, rooted in simplicity, emotional control, and moral clarity, can be misunderstood by others in a world dominated by materialism, ambition, and outward expressions of emotion. While Stoicism advocates for a way of living that leads to personal happiness and fulfillment, some of its principles can be surprising, even off-putting, to those unfamiliar with the philosophy. Here we explore 5 habits derived from Stoicism that may cause others to judge those who adopt them, often unfairly. Number 1. Emotional restraint. Seeming unaffected by tragedy or joy. One of the core tenets of Stoicism is the idea that we should not allow external events to dictate our internal state. Stoics strive to maintain equanimity, regardless of what happens around them, believing that getting emotionally invested in things beyond their control is a waste of energy. This can often come across to others as coldness or detachment, particularly in situations where intense emotions are expected, such as during a tragedy or celebration. In many societies, expressions of emotion are not just accepted but expected. Crying at a funeral, celebrating victories exuberantly, or reacting with visible anger when wronged are considered normal responses. A Stoic, however, may seem unfazed by these events, leading others to see them as aloof, robotic, or even uncaring. This emotional restraint can be misinterpreted as a lack of empathy or involvement, even though, for the Stoic, it's about mastering one's own emotions and maintaining inner peace, rather than a reflection of indifference. For example, in the workplace, a Stoic may not react with visible excitement to a promotion or distress to a demotion. This might cause colleagues to view them as ungrateful or disengaged, when in reality, the Stoic simply refuses to allow their external circumstances to dictate their happiness or self-worth. Number 2. Focus on the present moment, perceived as lack of ambition. A fundamental Stoic practice is the focus on the present moment. Stoics believe that the past is unchangeable and the future is uncertain, so the only time we can control is the present. By concentrating on the now, they cultivate mindfulness and serenity, living fully in the moment without being weighed down by regrets or anxieties about what might happen. In modern, fast-paced societies, however, this can be perceived as a lack of ambition or long-term planning. The world often rewards those who are constantly strategizing for the future, climbing the corporate ladder, and striving for success at all costs. A Stoic's focus on the present may be judged as complacency or lack of drive. For instance, a Stoic may prioritize personal growth, fulfillment, or the quality of their daily experiences over chasing societal markers of success such as fame, wealth, or career advancement. This can lead to misunderstandings where others may assume the Stoic lacks goals or is content with mediocrity. In reality, the Stoic has simply chosen a different set of priorities, ones that lead to inner contentment rather than external validation. Number 3. Living simply. Misinterpreted as being cheap or ascetic, Stoicism teaches that true happiness comes from virtue and wisdom, not from wealth, luxury, or external possessions. As a result, many Stoics adopt a lifestyle of simplicity, focusing on what is necessary and avoiding excess. This can manifest in minimalist living, avoiding the accumulation of material goods or being frugal with money. While this approach fosters contentment and reduces dependence on external things, it can lead to being judged as miserly or overly austere by others. In a culture that often equates success and status with material wealth and conspicuous consumption, Stoics who live simply can be seen as outliers. Their reluctance to indulge in luxuries, spend extravagantly, or chase after the latest gadgets may be viewed with skepticism or even pity by those who equate happiness with the possession of more things. For instance, a Stoic may choose to live in a modest home, drive an older car, or decline invitations to expensive social events, not out of financial necessity, but as a conscious choice to live in alignment with their values. To others, this can appear as either stinginess or as an extreme form of self-denial, when in fact it is a deliberate effort to focus on what truly matters in life. Number 4. Avoiding complaints. Seen as unassertiveness or indifference. Stoics are taught to avoid complaining about things they cannot change. Complaints, they believe, are pointless expressions of dissatisfaction with the world as it is. Instead, Stoics focus on what they can control, namely their own thoughts, actions, and responses. This philosophy encourages a level of acceptance and composure in the face of adversity that can be shocking to those who are accustomed to voicing their grievances. In settings where complaining is common, whether about work, family, or societal issues, a Stoic's refusal to participate can be seen as passivity or even a lack of moral conviction. When others are quick to point out injustices or express dissatisfaction with their circumstances, a Stoic's calm demeanor and lack of outward frustration may come across as indifference or disengagement. For example, in a workplace rife with dissatisfaction, a Stoic's refusal to complain about a difficult boss or challenging working conditions may be interpreted as apathy or a lack of backbone. Colleagues might think the Stoics are unwilling to stand up for themselves or fight for better treatment, when in reality, the Stoics are choosing not to waste energy on things beyond their control and instead focusing on what they can do to improve the situation. Number 5. Practicing Memento Mori. Viewed as morbid or pessimistic, Memento Mori, which translates to remember you must die, is a key practice in Stoicism. Stoics remind themselves regularly of the inevitability of death, not as a way to be morbid, but as a tool to live more fully. By keeping death in mind, they aim to prioritize what truly matters, live without regrets, and appreciate the present moment more deeply. This focus on mortality, however, can be unsettling to those who are uncomfortable discussing death or prefer to avoid thinking about it altogether. In many cultures, death is a taboo subject, something to be feared and avoided in conversation. A Stoic's openness to discussing or contemplating death can therefore be misinterpreted as fatalism, pessimism, or an unhealthy obsession with the grim aspects of life. While the Stoic sees it as a way to cultivate gratitude and perspective, others might view it as dark or inappropriate. For instance, if a Stoic brings up the idea of memento mori in a conversation about life goals or priorities, they may be met with discomfort or even judgment. People may feel that the Stoics are overly focused on mortality, or that they are not optimistic about the future. In reality, the Stoics are using the awareness of death as a motivational tool to ensure that they live purposefully and without regret. Conclusion. Stoicism offers a pathway to inner peace and resilience through practices that challenge many of society's norms and expectations. While these habits can lead to a more content and meaningful life for practitioners, they often stand in contrast to widely held beliefs about how one should live, express emotions, and pursue success. As a result, those who follow Stoic principles may find themselves judged or misunderstood by others. Emotional restraint can be seen as detachment. A focus on the present moment might look like a lack of ambition. Simple living may be mistaken for stinginess. Avoiding complaints may be perceived as passivity, and reflecting on death may seem morbid. These judgments, however, are based on a misunderstanding of Stoicism's true purpose: to cultivate virtue, wisdom, and tranquility, regardless of external circumstances. For those who practice Stoicism, the challenge is not just in following its teachings, but also in navigating the reactions of others who may not fully understand the philosophy. In the end, though, a Stoic's primary concern is not the judgment of others, but their own personal development and adherence to a life of virtue. By staying true to these principles, Stoics can find fulfillment and peace, even in a world that sometimes judges them for the very habits that bring them joy.